Hi, my name is Christina Castro.
And this is Joe No Casimir.
And I'm Gabby.
And we are here with
Talks with Therapy.
Before we jump into the content of the podcast, a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed are solely those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any affiliated organizations, employers, or institutions. This content is intended for general information and or entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice of any kind. While every effort is made to present accurate information, all thoughts and perspectives shared are personal and subject to change as new insights are gained. Now, let's jump into the podcast. All right, welcome back to our podcast. Today's episode is episode 2 is going to be about burnout. This is a hot topic across a lot of professions, but especially in healthcare. Joe, I'd like to turn it over to you so that you can tell us your definition of burnout.
Okay, well, not my definition per se, but described by the World Health Organization, burnout is a syndrome that can be characterized in 3 dimensions. Emotional exhaustion is one, cynicism/detachment, and reduced professional efficacy. So I guess with this topic, we want to kind of discuss how burnout is presented in the workplace, not only in the rehab setting, but just in settings overall. And we want to discuss some topics on how to help address it and as well as identify it.
Okay.
I guess, can you talk about how you experienced burnout?
Oh my, sit down. It's going to be a while. So as a speech language pathologist working in a healthcare setting, I experienced burnout by just feeling less creative, feeling extremely tired mentally and physically, feeling like I lack ideas for how to implement care with different patient populations. And I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes even reconsidering my profession. So I know a lot of people that
taboo.
The taboo, right? I've had conversations with a lot of other healthcare professionals and they've all asked themselves that question, like, you know, did I really choose the right career? So Gabby, tell me how you have experienced burnout as a PTA.
So as a PTA, I think I've definitely felt it in kind of different ways. I did leave job a couple years ago, sort of due to a reason that at the time I don't think that I thought of it as burnout, but I was just highly overwhelmed by this new company that was just coming in, had just bought out the building, the SNF building, and they started implementing all these different rules and changes and like guidelines for therapists to kind of abide by, you know, things like adding more patients to the same, you know, hour caseload, or adding more documentation that's just redundant. And it's like, this has already been mentioned, but sure, throw on another document that I have to fill out with the same information.
Exactly, yeah.
But kind of piggybacking on what you said about not feeling as creative, yes.
Because, you know,
engaged, right, with your patients.
Because like when you like, you know, you see like when you go to school, you know, especially clinicals, you see all these cool stuff and cool ideas. Like you see, hey, what would you do? And you're like, oh yeah, I'll do A, B, C, F, G, da 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 da. And you're treating probably like 1 or 2 patients, you know, at a time. But when you actually start the profession,
and you've done like,
caseloads.
and you've done already 2 concurrents, and it's close to lunchtime, and
meet your productivity,
and you're just like, okay, I got this one patient, I'm just probably gonna throw them on the bike and, you know, walk back to the room, and it's like
that creativity is kind of gone.
You could do that, but you could give a better treatment. You know, you could spend those minutes better spent with maybe interventions that will help the patient better than just, you know, sitting down.
But Gabby, you have to remember, we have to meet a productivity.
Oh yeah, that can't forget the productivity. Joe, it's not productivity. Yeah. Patient care time.
You're right.
Because they don't like to use the word productivity.
Yeah.
We will be talking in another podcast about that label, I guess.
The word
productivity. Okay. It has a
the
lot
unspoken that they implement a lot.
Yeah. But what is the largest caseload? Because we had talked about, you know, how company expectations or productivity can contribute to burnout in the healthcare setting. What's the highest caseload you guys have had in a day?
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and chime in because I just worked this a couple days ago in a skilled nursing facility.
Okay.
As a PRN, I was scheduled 16 patients on my list.
In what period of time?
A regular full day, 8-hour day.
8-hour day. That's
8-hour day, 16 patients that vary based off of their insurance. Could be a 30-minute treat, could be 35, or it could be 55 if they're a Med B. You're not supposed to concur or group in that facility. They don't group Med Bs. So, it's hard when you're trying to get through this whole list of patients, but you got, 3 or 4 patients that are 55 minutes. So it's like for this hour, you're basically just seeing one person. In a way, as a PRN, I kind of see that as like a waste of time though, because like while I'm treating my Med B probably on passive stuff or maybe active assisted, I could be having my high level ortho patient that's getting close to discharge, out here doing some mod independent HEP, getting ready to go home, exercises, but I can't. So I think that's where, when you have a big caseload, you start to feel stressed and overwhelmed. And maybe that's where you tend to lack your professionalism or
So how does it...
the best of you does not come out.
So how do you feel like it presents? Like, how do you know you're burned out? Like, this is what I read from Christina Maslach and Michael P. Leiter. Okay. Sorry if I messed up your guys' name. They said it could look like withdrawal from work. Yeah. I definitely experienced some of that where I am just going about my day. Just looking outside, just ready to go home. It could look at job dissatisfaction, kind of what we were saying earlier, not productivity or change in general, not being able to use our creative minds to help benefit the patients, and then decreased organization commitment. So when I see that decreased organization commitment, it's like...
You don't want to work for the company anymore.
You don't want to work for the company, but the company expect you to break your back for them almost, as for whatever they want, for whatever the cost, and then in return just be satisfied for like this pizza party.
A lot of people, when we talk about productivity, we'll talk about that for sure.
If that.
But I think one of the biggest and most dangerous parts of burnout when you're thinking about seeing 15, 16 patients is you start to see patients less as people and more as problems.
Or numbers.
Or like you said, like I feel like this is a waste of time. Like, you're looking at a person and because you're so stressed about trying to get these numbers and get these patients seen, you're no longer seeing them as a person and treating them as a person, as a burnt out professional. You're seeing them as a problem or a number that I need to quickly solve. And so a lot of times people will say burnout is reflected by being disengaged with yourself, right? But with the patient as well. And that's how patient care suffers. That's how medical errors.
They can
medical
tell.
Errors is a big one.
Medical errors occur, negligence, and in some cases, extreme cases that I've seen outside of this room, obviously, is people will start to cut corners. And that is very sad to see, but it's a big side effect of burnout.
No, it's right.
Or also like just crappy documentation, at the end of the day, or maybe while you're, have a group or concurrent going, you might want to, while they're busy, you might, want to take advantage of that time and beep bop boop type something up super fast. It could have been detailed had you had the time, but it's not. I don't know. That's just what I would say. That would be like my last little thing on that is just documentation, because at the end of the day, who runs the world? Insurances. If they see that this note doesn't really have a lot, then what did the patient do? And then it's they could cut the patient because of my fault, because of the I have all these other people to see and do.
So I guess what do you guys view as unreasonable workloads from each setting? What do we view as unreasonable workloads?
Oh my god.
Because they say that it is like a root cause.
I think that there's factors for that. Like if we're talking about at a skilled nursing facility, you have the nursing staff, the CNAs who could help with, making sure that these patients are dressed and ready for therapy so that when you come in, you probably could, do a group and do a concurrent and, get that done properly. But if you're working on the weekend when there's not that much staff there, and most of the patients are, in bed, mostly unbothered, untouched. It's like, okay, I'm coming in to walk, but you're not dressed. We're not clean yet,
We have to come back later. We're going
or just mentally not ready to get up, because I get it. It's a weekend.
If
you've had Monday through Friday, PT, OT, maybe speech as well. It's like you do want the weekend off, but.
And what if you're tired? I mean, we're dealing with patients that are sick. They're recovering
sick, tired, and in pain, which I get it.
If we're talking about higher level patients, I think there's individual factors. Like therapists, work differently. They're seeing a lower complexity of patients. They can see maybe more, so they have an ideal caseload. Whereas other people are working with more medically complex patients. They may have a different opinion as far as how many people I should be able to see in an 8-hour window.
So I do agree. So as far as like unreasonable workload, from my experience, I don't mind doing evals, but like evals, the progress notes, the discharges. Now, boom, me being a male physical therapist in a SNF setting, Joe can see this patient that's high complexity, that needs to be lifted up, that needs to 300 something pounds. Oh, let me add another 300 pound on the schedule because he's a guy. Sure, go for it. This person is total assistant. Joe got it. So now by the time, not necessarily me, but just like a male PT, in general. But we're all trained, like me being an evaluating therapist, I don't mind doing the paperwork. It's all part of the job and all that. I get that realistically. But in the same breath, I feel like you have to be able to manage the schedule if you want realistic outcomes for patients.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we haven't gotten to the solutions of burnout, but definitely talking about autonomy and talking about software that can help with some of the paperwork. Because if you're seeing 20 patients in a 10-hour day and you have to click 20 times on an electronic medical record system for each patient,
your brain is fried.
I mean, it's fried. It's those small,
each coding, each box.
It's time, and it takes a lot of thought, and the typing that you have. We've seen all of these patients, and at the end of the day, you're trying to keep each one of them in your mind. What did I do with them? 19 patients later. It's really hard. So having all of this paperwork that accompanies each one of the patients can definitely contribute to burnout, and the solution is let's streamline this paperwork process or give therapists more autonomy on who they get to see and when and for how long.
Or maybe just like not have so much pressure on the patients about like their overall treatment time compared to your clock in and out time. So your essentially your productivity, if they don't press on us that much, maybe one aspect of what we do might improve. Like maybe our patient care might improve, or maybe our documentation might improve if we don't have so much pressure from so many different areas coming at us in one given day.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate.
Go for it.
Do you feel like, I guess it'll be more personality aspect. Do you feel like sometimes it's on us on burnout? Like, you think we could like talk to our supervisor, or we could create opportunities for ourselves to kind of address the burnout? Because I had a supervisor that, he was like, hey Joe, like I see you have a lot of people on your schedule, you look kind of stressed. You want me to take some people off? And instinctively I'm like, oh no, I got it. Because in my head I don't want to seem like, I'm not carrying my load.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's seeing from the outside and like, yo, he looks kind of tired.
Yeah.
And then I'm at home just exhausted. So how much of the burnout, I guess, per se, is more on us that we need to probably create boundaries, or have an open line of communication to kind of address that? You think that would be one way?
You know, I love what you said because yes, sometimes, you know, especially the newer you are to the field, you want to kind of prove yourself and feel like I can do this, and so maybe taking on more than you should. But this goes back to another factor that contributes to burnout is, you know, workplace toxicity or unrealistic company policies or expectations. So how receptive would management be to a suggestion to alleviate the caseload, right?
Yeah.
And so I've gone to people where I've had a discussion and said, hey, I have a really loaded schedule. I have like 6 reevaluations, 2 progress notes, and 2 discharges.
Yeah.
I can't do all of this paperwork in the allotted amount of time. Is there any way you can give me less? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
But in another setting, the answer is, oh my gosh, that should never have happened. Let's talk to our schedulers.
It could be.
Yeah, no, that's true. I had some good bosses and DORs that were pretty flexible. Like, hey, like I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
What can we do? And they're like, all right, I'm sorry. Let's make it work.
Yeah.
But like just me personality wise, I'm more like, man, if I asked them for help, would they expect something out of return for me? I guess that's what goes in my head. I don't know.
Or sometimes like you said, when you said
that.
no, like I'm okay, I got it. I think sometimes we do have a hard time maybe accepting help from our managers. Like if they offer it, take it.
Yeah.
I know several days ago I was only scheduled to work, X amount of hours, and then I had some scheduled home health patients afterwards. My day obviously got longer than it should because what's printed on the schedule doesn't always work out that way. So sometimes you might be there longer. And there was this one patient in particular that I just visited several times and just was not ready time after time. And then when I finally could have been ready, they got a visitor. And so I was like, I'm not going to intrude on that time. Like, have your visitor time, because most of the times if you're in a skilled nursing facility, patients don't get visitors from family often. So when they do, I'd like to think that that's a good time for them, like maybe a distraction from what they're feeling or going through. But so that particular patient I didn't get to see. So I went to my DOR, my manager, and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I've attempted to see this patient 3 times already. They're not ready. I'm here tomorrow full day. Can I move them for tomorrow? And the answer was no, because they had already been scheduled out for their week. They had already been seen. There was no where to move them to. I had reached out to another PTA that was working there, and he was not receptive to just absorbing another patient because he was already overwhelmed with his existing schedule, which I totally get.
Right.
So I ended up finding a PT who was like, oh yeah, I'll take the patient. I don't mind having an extra long day.
That's a communication aspect.
Yeah. So I think when the managers can't help, maybe seek to, if you have other coworkers. I know sometimes as a speech therapist, you're sometimes maybe the only one there, and you may not have someone else to pass that patient on to. But I think if you have the opportunity, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Well, you brought up a good point, because staffing is something that contributes to burnout as well.
Yeah.
And though it wasn't particularly mentioned in that study that you brought up, sometimes staffing challenges can really be one of those major drivers. So if you're the only PT, in the facility, or the only skilled, or the only speech language pathologist, or the only PTA, it's like there's no one else to go to.
Yeah.
All these patients are yours. You need to own it, and we have no help in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So I know that because of burnout, a lot of professionals have been leaving the field in droves. So I think that would be something to discuss, because if burnout is not something that companies are taking seriously, I think that therapy is really taking a hit, and so are patients, because there's not enough professionals out there.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Because we're obviously talking about the burnout and in our companies, and I think we've all 3 worked for either major hospitals or big companies around the Central Florida or maybe nationwide. Do you guys remember being approached by management about burnout, or hey, how can we help you, or do you guys need any help?
I was.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad.
It was outpatient.
Oh.
So
okay.
like growing up watching my dad, he never took any breaks, never took days off, never took vacation. He just worked. He's from the old school generation. Right?
Yeah.
That's all I knew. So like when I used to work,
how did they do it?
How they do it. So when I worked, I was always just like, all right, I'm gonna just work. What's a vacation? I never took days off on my birthdays. The only time I did need to take a day off was either if I'm sick or if I had like a wedding plan. That was the only time I needed. And then my boss at the time, she was just like, yo, like, you have PTO, use it. Like you look like you look like you need it. I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. And this is like I just started. This is like my first time. Like this is like my first real job. And she's like, no, like you need. She's like, you're going to like. She didn't use the word burnout, but I guess more or less. She's like, you're gonna tire yourself out real quick. Like you're gonna. And at the time, like I didn't know what that looked like. You know, like I don't. I think I'm a pretty stress-free individual, but you know, I'm waking up like, oh my God, like I have to come here to work, I have to do this, do that, like all cranky, you know? And then the only time I feel relieved is when like, I'm just, you know, when the day is done.
Friday comes around.
Clock and then when Sunday hits, I'm just like, oh God, I gotta go work on Monday. So she kind of just say, hey, like, use your PTO.
Take your breaks.
Set times, use your lunch breaks.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, communicate. Like she was really big on communication. So like, I think that helped. She kind of helped me identify where my issues were at with burnout.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think really like if you have emotionally intelligent bosses that have been in your shoes or, you know, they're other professionals in the field, they can be a little more sympathetic sometimes. I've had management come up to me and say, hey, I'm so sorry. You're the only speech language pathologist here. We're going to see if we can get somebody PRN or we're going to try to hire somebody to see if we can alleviate your caseload. But again, that's something that takes time. And a lot of times because other professionals have experienced this major burnout, they're not really trying to apply to these jobs. There's a lot of people shying away from skilled nursing facilities or some hospital systems that, you know, have had a bad reputation for being a toxic workplace, right?
Exactly.
So I don't know. I have been approached and I've had some really supportive managers, but other times, no. It's like this is what it is.
Yeah.
What about you, Gab?
I honestly, I want to say that of most of my jobs that I've had, I have had really great managers. It's more of what comes with the job that has, for me, sort of developed burnout symptoms. I definitely can say I'm not completely burnt out. Don't know how.
You're young.
Probably. But I mean, I have come close to, you know, some of these things. And like I said, you know, a little while back, I did leave a job due to some of these things, you know, like the rules, unrealistic policies that they were really just, and it's like, oh, well, if you don't meet your numbers, you know, you don't get a raise. And I'm just like, you guys are adding more stuff to the list to do, and it's, I'll do this, but what are you doing to, you know? And it was like, nope, not until you meet these numbers with these new rules, then you can get your 1%. You know, it's keep that percent.
Or keep your job, or like I've had people say, you don't meet these numbers, then we need to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Like that dreaded talk. Did you guys? Everybody hates it.
Yes.
I never show up to the talk.
Oh no.
Joe knows what's coming.
Rebel. Yeah, but it's like, you don't meet 90. Who is 95% productive in any job that has somebody sitting down, looking over their shoulder and saying, you didn't meet your numbers today. Please give me a line by line accountability.
And you're sweating bullets. Not from the stress from the meeting them, but sweating bullets because you're busting your butt working with patients and trying to meet that
95%.
Oh yeah, you're not good enough yet.
Yeah, right. Like you can't
keep trying.
You're thinking to yourself, can I afford to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Seriously.
So that I can make this 95% cut. I mean, it's like these are the things that contribute to burnout. You're negotiating with yourself. over the simplest, like, basic human needs of can I take a mental break? Can I go to the bathroom? Can I eat? Can I go to sleep early in order to get all of this stuff done?
I'm guilty of that.
Sleep is a big thing.
A couple days I skipped out on lunch and I was just, filled out a time correction sheet, just deduct it. Because I could not afford to just sit and clock out for a minimum of 30 minutes. When I have this patient ready and I'm ready to go.
Because if you miss that patient, then
seriously. So solutions. I mean, how can we do better with what we've got?
We touched already a little bit on we touched a little bit. AI is coming around. We touched a little bit on communication.
Okay.
We touched around boundaries. I think as rehab people, we'll be remiss if we don't talk about exercise. I know you guys been doing. I mean,
and
me too myself.
Communication, right?
So what do you? I'll start with myself. Like, as far as like help address burnout.
Okay.
I like to listen to music. That's a big one. It just kind of puts me in that zone. Some nice R&B. Kind of set the mood for myself to keep clear my mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Meditation. I've been also doing a lot of meditation.
Right.
It helps teach self-awareness, kind of help you be present in the moment. Because a lot of times when you burn out, you're too busy thinking about the future.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the big thing is I've been doing a lot of exercises, do a little bit of jogging. The main thing I've been doing is like boxing. Just kind of help with cardio fitness and all that. So yeah, that's definitely a big one for me.
Okay. Well, solutions, ways that I manage with, work with all this that we just talked about. For me, my biggest thing is I love me time. Because I mostly am home health and PRN, I really do dictate my own schedule, which I love, because if I don't want a heavy day, I don't give myself a heavy day. If I say, you know what, I can handle a couple days in a row of heavy days, I can manage that, because I'm going to give myself 2-3 light days after that. So controlling your schedule, controlling your time. Joe, I think you mentioned it, setting boundaries. If this one particular thing just super overwhelms you, speak up and say, hey, look, I can do this much. Maybe I can split this between 2 days, or maybe me and another coworker can, split this one task. Setting boundaries for yourself, allowing yourself to have control over your work-life routine.
Yeah, and if you really need to start considering different environments to work in, then go ahead and do that. You don't need to stick somewhere that you feel unsupported. So yeah, if that's something you need to do, or you need to transition somewhere else, definitely do it. I know I've done it a couple of times. But also, like Joe was saying, exercise, mental health days, making sure that you're communicating what your expectations are and your boundaries. Definitely use AI if it's available to you. It is. There's no denying it. It's here
growing.
For a reason. It's going to help us. It's definitely helped me a lot. So those are my solutions. And just speak out, advocate for yourself, because if you don't, no one else will.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes, on our episode 2 of Burnout.
All right.
If you guys have any comments, questions, or anything you want to drop in the comments, feel free. We will read those. You might be mentioned in our next episode.
Maybe
awesome.
Join us.
Definitely. Yeah,
all right, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Have a great day.